Good morning everyone and welcome to my kitchen. Today's devotion is brought to you by this humble little seed. This is a corn seed, but this is a special corn seed. See, you may be familiar with corn. In fact, you may eat corn in this form at home. It might be peeled and boiled and you might eat it on the cob. Or you might eat corn in this kind of form, straight out of the tin, added nicely to a wrap or into a stew or a stock or a soup. Or you might be more familiar with this variety. In fact, I would say that this variety is probably everybody's favourite. However, it's also the least healthy. Did you know there is actually 6 different varieties of corn? They all kind of look like this, but they're different shapes, different sizes, and sometimes even different colours. But did you know that the special grain, our popcorn, is the only one that under certain conditions can actually pop into this fluffy, white, delicious goodness we call popcorn.
Why does popcorn pop?
Because popcorn is a pop dancer.
Nah.
Oh.
There are a variety of corn such as field corn, sweet corn, and popcorn.
Oh.
However, popcorn is the only corn that pops.
Huh? Why? Does it have some magical powers?
No.
Oh.
There are 3 things in a popcorn seed or kernel that work together to form a perfect popcorn. Those are an impermeable shell called pericarp, right water content, and starch. When we heat popcorn kernels, the water inside them forms steam and starts to expand, while the starch turns into a gel-like substance. Being enclosed, the expanding steam applies pressure on the shells. Eventually, when the shells cannot hold the pressure, they burst open, releasing the steam and gel. When this gel comes in contact with air, it rapidly solidifies, forming fluffy popcorn.
Well, that's interesting, isn't it? Popcorn pops because it gets put under pressure. Today we're going to be cooking some popcorn and witnessing that pressure. We're going to cook popcorn the traditional way. We're going to use a saucepan and a stovetop. This may be how your parents or your grandparents cooked popcorn because they did not have the convenience of our little microwave back. Now, to make popcorn on the stove, all you need is 1/4 cup of popcorn. When you measure that, you need to make sure that it's flat across the top like we have there. You're going to need a saucepan with a securely fitting lid because we need to make sure that our popcorn doesn't fly everywhere in the kitchen. You're going to need a stovetop, and you're also going to need some oil, a tablespoon worth. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to put your saucepan on your stovetop and you're going to turn your heat to about halfway on your stove. Give it about 1 to 2 minutes to let your saucepan actually heat up a little bit, and then you're going to measure out your oil, 1 tablespoon of oil into the pan. Now to do that you need to remove the lid, put it in a safe place, undo your oil and pour it until it reaches the top of the tablespoon. I should mention also, if you are cooking this at home, you need to ensure that you have a guardian or a parent around that is supervising you. Once you have placed your oil in the pan, you can then place 2 to 3 popcorn kernels in the pan. These popcorn kernels are going to help you determine when your oil is hot enough to add the rest of the 1/4 cup. The most important part of this process is that you watch. Do not take your eyes off it. In fact, make sure that there is a guardian there too, watching that popcorn, because once those first few kernels pop, it's your job to put the rest of the kernels in. So while we're waiting for this popcorn to pop, let us consider how we are like popcorn. Popcorn gets put under pressure. We see in the video quite succinctly how it expands and moves, and the starch even breaks apart under pressure. Sometimes that can feel like our lives. In fact, more recently under the COVID pandemic, you may have felt under pressure. It may have been as a student that you didn't know how to submit your work on Google Classroom, or you felt pressure in trying to get it done while the fluffy dog was playing outside. As a parent, it might have been getting thrown into not only working from home, but also being a facilitator of your child's learning. All of us get put under pressure at some stage. Life can test us and take us through trials and periods of suffering. In fact, in times of trial, you may feel hot, shaky, or overwhelmed, like the water heating up inside our popcorn kernels. You may feel stressed and long to run and hide or escape to a better place, just like our edgy popcorn beginning to shake in the pan. In fact, sometimes during suffering we can even feel like the starch, breaking apart with pressure from all around, and this is not a nice feeling. You may think, why as a Christian am I going through this? Well, God has an answer for that. We can read it here in James 1, 2-4. It reads, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." Not sure that makes sense. Why is it pure joy to suffer? Maybe I can explain with this popcorn. See, we already know that this little guy is special. Amongst his species, he is chosen for a purpose. He is planted, grown, and taken care of by the farmer. He knows he is cared for and that one day he will mature into a beautifully fluffy ball of yummy goodness. However, to get to that maturity, he faces lots of trials. See, he's under pressure right now, bobbling about in the pan. Through growth, he also suffers through drought, drenching rain, or devastating wind. Through processing, he is subject to long periods of vibrating, shaking, icy cold air dryers and compact spaces. He even faces the extreme pressure when we finally put him in that pan to pop. Does this sound familiar? Like the popcorn, we are special. Genesis 1:27 says that we are created in God's image. Like the popcorn, we are created for a purpose. In Genesis 9:16, we read that God has raised us up for this very purpose, that he may show us his power and that his name might be proclaimed in all the earth. And like popcorn, we are cared for. In 1 Peter 4:7, we read that we can cast all our anxieties on God because he cares for us. And like popcorn, like that popcorn now sizzling in the pan, we experience trials and sufferings as we look to maturity. As we read, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." When we put corn in the pot, it doesn't pop straight away. No, the corn, like this verse says, perseveres. It bubbles and jumps and takes the pressure because it knows that in the end it is going to pop. It is going to mature into a purely joyful, delicious white ball of fluff. It knows that those around him are going to pop too. And there will be a wonderful kingdom of purely joyful, delicious white balls of fluff at the end. And not only that, the aroma of this process will waft through the entire house, the entire cinema complex, and out onto the street and make everyone's appetite yearn for it. We, like popcorn, do not become Christians and mature straight away. God uses parts of our lives to mold us and to shape us to maturity. Sometimes this comes in the form of trials and testing. Sometimes we suffer. But as James says, we can do this with pure joy because, like this popcorn, getting put under pressure, we know that it is going to bring us to maturity. And you want to know something even more special? Like the aroma of popcorn persevering in the heat before it matures, our life and the trials we get put through can be a wonderful aroma to others that don't know Jesus. God uses us to draw others to Him, just as we yearn to taste that popcorn we can smell. So, as you smell that aroma of your popcorn today, as you enjoy that salty taste in your mouth, can you please also consider that that popcorn has gone through lots of trials and sufferings, and it has persevered. My friends, you can persevere in suffering because God is preparing you to